Your story. No, don't tell me what your story is. Tell me how long you've been at your church. So your name, how long you've been at your church, and what's another fun one? Your favorite app on your phone. Does everyone have a smartphone? We're missing a chair. Oh, okay, all right. Oh, you were going to share with Brother Jimmy? That's brotherhood right there when you share a chair.
Jimmy gets a pulpit.
Oh, Jimmy's going to stand in the pulpit on the left. Okay, Jimmy's going to start preaching. All right, so my name's Micah. I'm an associate pastor at Pillar Bible Church. I've been at the church for about 8 years. And so we just changed our name to Pillar Bible Church this year. Ben?
Hi, everyone. Hello, my name is Ben. I am a leader in my church's youth ministry and young adult ministry at Alliance Bible Church. And I have been at my church since I was 3 years old. I grew up in my church. So, what's my favorite app?
Yeah, what's your favorite app? Oh, I didn't say mine. Go ahead, you go first.
Right now, Spotify.
Oh,
it's so good.
Okay. That's good.
All my playlists.
Yeah. All the Christian songs, right there. Nothing secular. Any of that Taylor Swift?
No.
Right, no. Christians can't listen to Taylor Swift.
T-Swift.
You can sense the tone of the jokes. All right. My favorite app for me is Evernote right now. Just productivity and organizing. I'm not good at it, but I try it. Right. You don't have a mic, Mark? Mic, Mark? Sure? Okay. Do we have another mic for Pastor Mark? Okay, just a second. All right. Alex.
My name's Alex. Pastor at Christian Fellowship Bible Church. Been at my church for 13 years. And favorite app?
On the phone.
I like my Logos app.
Oh yeah.
So
Bible.
I can sermon prep.
Yeah, on your
through
phone.
my phone. And there's like millions of books.
But we don't recommend that on a weekly basis.
Yeah. There are tons of books on that app.
Yeah.
And I could open
That's
my
great.
sermons.
You ever preach through your phone?
I have not.
No?
It's not that liberated.
Okay. Too liberal to preach on the phone. All right.
Hi, I'm Chris. I am associate pastor at Baldwin Park Community Bible Church. Favorite app is going to be Google Chrome, because I'm about to Google all the answers to your question.
It's not fair. You're not allowed to.
Nice.
We have a blocker, an internet blocker that is... No, nothing's happening like that. You'll be able to Google the questions. Great.
My name is June. The church I'm going to is True Chinese Alliance Church. I've been there since 2001, so since I was 18, 17. And my favorite app is actually a sermon audio. Yeah.
Oh.
My name is Mark. I've been here at this church, Pillar Bible Church, since 2009. Year 2009. And my favorite app is, I like the podcast app. I just listen to a lot of sports radio, and I like the Feedly app, which is like just puts all your blogs.
That's the blog one, right? That's good. That's awesome. All right. Shall we get into it? So this is, I look forward to this time. It's really a time of just informal discussion. You get to kind of hear, this is how we would kind of talk about issues normally, just in person. And so I don't think this is just because we're pastors, but I think this is just how we would normally talk about these things. And so we'll talk about your questions. We'll have a good, organic, just back and forth. Feel free to interrupt. Be kind, though, to everyone. Just, we'll see what happens. I don't know how this is going to work, but we'll see. Let's start off. We have some ecclesiology questions here, and so some good ones. This person says, I want to get involved and serve in my church. I don't know what my gifts are and where to start. Any advice? Open to anyone. It's a good question.
Join the choir.
Join the choir. And if your church doesn't have a choir, if there's no choir, then what do? You start the choir, right? You start the choir. One-man choir.
Mark, I think we're talking about this, right, with NBK. There's never been a church members meeting where the pastor says, we have enough servants. There has never, I've never heard of a church that has said something like that. So I would just recommend find a need and just meet that need. And there are millions of needs in local churches, whether it's just discipling someone new in the church, whether it's taking out the trash, whether helping with the nursery. There are so many needs. You just have to look for it and then begin meeting that need. And you know, God will. I don't like kids ministry, or I do like kids ministry, or I really like music, or I don't like music, and God will kind of help you there, and also through the encouragement of other fellow members, and them affirming you in particular yes or not.
Yeah, so you're saying trying out different ministries is going to help test what the giftings are, right?
And I also want to say that it doesn't necessarily have to be like a public ministry. So if I'm not part of a choir, or if I'm not part of a children's ministry, I would say, you know, find someone and have lunch with them, you know, or again, there are millions of needs in the church that you just meet that need.
Yeah, we would call that discipling, right?
Yeah.
So just general discipleship, doing spiritual good to another church member, that would help out ministry a lot, I think. Any other thoughts? No?
Yeah, I think part of that is also knowing yourself a little bit and asking yourself what your interests are. Rarely do I think does God call someone to a ministry that they have no interest in. So just kind of knowing yourself and asking yourself that question of yourself. And getting to know people at your church is going to be a huge part of this. Fellowshipping with people, introducing yourself, building relationships with the people around you at a local church will help you know, at least have relationships where people will tell you should serve this way because I know you, and this might be something that is good for you, or you know what, you probably shouldn't be serving this way because you really can't sing, or whatever it may be. So building those relationships with the members of the local church is a good part of this question, I think.
Yeah. I would say also, though, there are some things that we have to do in the local church because we need help that we might not like to do.
Right.
So I just wanted to kind of clarify that because, yes, sometimes we don't have enough workers, maybe to help kids or something like that, and sometimes we just need you to be faithful and kind of go where the need is at.
Yeah.
You know, at times.
How would you, what would you recommend to a person who feels kind of burnt out spiritually? They're just kind of, they feel like they're not spiritually growing. Is this maybe grounds for leaving the church that they're at? Maybe, is it the church's fault? Is it their fault? You know, what do you say to someone who just is having trouble, just is in that kind of spiritual rut? Maybe ask, what have you done? Have you been in a spiritual rut before as a Christian? You know, a lot of holy men here? No? No, we all have. Pastors especially get into spiritual ruts. So maybe you can answer that personally. How do you get out of it?
Pastor Mark is on sabbatical.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. I just want to say I would ask why you burn out. What is the reason?
What's the reason?
So, it depends on the person. Sometimes you just might need to take a nap. You know,
So you
sometimes
encourage
you might
naps?
just need 8 hours of sleep. Sometimes you maybe need to exercise.
What about 12 hours of sleep?
Make it for if that rejuvenates a person.
Really? 12 hours of sleep?
Yeah, some people sleep 12 hours.
All right.
So I would ask.
That's
so
right.
first of all,
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen.
So what is the cause of that burnout? You know, have you been slacking off in the means of grace, like Bible reading or prayer? So is something spiritually affecting you physically, or something physically affecting you spiritually? Because God has made us holistic beings. I'd also encourage other. I read 2 books, Reset and Refresh, by David Murray and his wife, which is also talking about how to live a grace-paced life in a burnout culture. I would recommend that book. In ministry, I just gave Mark, the pastor's soul, to encourage his soul on sabbatical right now, to find rest and not think about things.
Pastor Mark, you're on sabbatical right now. How's it feel? Feels good, huh? So, are you being spiritually rejuvenated right now? How would you encourage someone who's in that road?
I would just say rest is a spiritual discipline. that should be cultivated. We live in a capitalistic society that says, work hard. And there's nothing wrong with working hard, but some of the sin tendencies or temptations that can come in that culture is that you begin to think that you are the master of your own ship. That if I work hard enough, the church will look a certain way, the ministry will look a certain way, my life will look a certain way. And there are times in the Christian life where God says, or wants to remind you, no, I'm in control. The church will go, the gospel will be spread, the word will be proclaimed with or without me. And it is a spiritual discipline to cultivate rest and trust in God. And that's very different from laziness. So I would say if you feel spiritually burnt out, part of the problem is rooting your identity in things that you do rather than who you are in Christ. So I think sometimes it may not, like I agree with Alex, it might be a nap, but sometimes you can wake up from that nap and still be as spiritually stunted or frustrated from when you even began. Sometimes the solution is just loving Christ simply because he's worthy to be loved. So I think just remembering those basics and not rooting your identity in ministry or your career or in your family, but realizing that Christ, it's cliche, but Christ is everything.
Yeah. Looks like you're saying spiritual issue, burnout, right? Jimmy, did you have something to say?
Oh yeah, I do want to add to that. I know the question was also asked, if I remember correctly, was should I leave my church when you're burned out?
Yeah.
I think even that question, I think presupposes that what we go to church is only what we're offering. That it's only up till we could offer so much, and then when we can't offer anymore, that means we're no longer a member of the church. And I think that's a problematic presupposition. I think part of it also as well.
Those are big words, Pastor Jimmy. Problematic presupposition.
Yeah, that's a problematic thought or assumption that's being made.
Jimmy wrote a thesis
My
on
mind just blew up right
presupposition.
there.
So even with that, I think is also realizing that we're not only there for the church to serve. That's a big component. I know we are stressed that we're not only to get, but a part of being the church, even when we're burned out, I think there's a place for that also as well, where we need to be open. We need to be real with the leaders of the church, with those that you're accountable to, that you're burned out. Whatever it is, there'll probably be, we talked about diagnosing the different reasons. Sometimes the physical play on the spiritual, sometimes the spiritual that drives all of us. But I think part of being a churchman or a church member also include that even when we're going through things, we share and also is able to receive the instruction and care that's provided.
Yeah, there's a book by Ed Welch called Side by Side, and it's basically, summary of the book is, as a church member, there's two things in your life you need to realize. One, you're needed, which is kind of the first question. The church needs your gifts. The church needs you to serve. Secondly, you're a needy person. In other words, there are other people in the church that have gifts that cater to your life in areas that you might be deficient in. Oftentimes we overemphasize, like what Jimmy's saying, the first. We always want to feel like we're needed, but culturally we try and protect ourselves from presenting ourselves as if we're needy people, but that's why God gave us each other, because we need each other. Ed Welch, Side by Side, pretty short book, it'd be fun to read.
This next question's on the Trinity, so maybe I'll let Jimmy start with this one first. How would you explain the Trinity to a child, maybe a 5-year-old? One God in 3 persons, not 3 gods in 1 person. Muchas gracias. That's how it ended. What's that?
The question has the answer in it.
1 God in 3 persons, not 3 gods in 1 person. Oh yeah, I guess that's the answer, huh? Would you care to elaborate? Would you use any simpler language, Jimmy, or is that good enough? That's exactly what you would say to your 5-year-old?
Yeah, so I guess, just with having kids, great kids we have, I know that Trinity is a hard concept, no matter what age you're at. I feel, as I grow more older, I believe in the Trinity more, just seeing it's all throughout Scripture, and also, as I see it more, also the different implication that follows from the Trinity is why I truly believe, hold on to it, and live my life in light of it. The Trinity is amazing. I think it's totally amazing. I could talk about it all day, but going back on with the Trinity, I think no matter how young, it's going to be hard. So Well, my kids, I always tell them there's only one